You said you have a MetaQuest Pro.
Yeah, MetaQuest Pro. I got it from Best Buy like a year ago.
And now that's like Mark Zuckerberg's brand, right?
Yeah.
I heard a lot of good things about it. He was on Joe Rogan. He was talking about it.
Yeah.
It seems crazy.
It's really cool, man. There's a lot of different ways that you can interface it to either, let's say, Steam or your computer. You could have like multiple different screens going. It's just very versatile.
Gotcha.
So it's been nice. I mean, it was about $1,300 when I got it, so it was on a little bit of a sale. But
have you tried the porn on there?
Not yet, man. I haven't even thought about that yet.
I've heard great things. I've never done it because I'm not a fucking sicko. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, guys, welcome back to the J-Rock. Today we got a very special guest. His name is Paul Wiedmaier. Some of you may know him. He played for U of D, the University of Detroit, and soccer. I met Paul through soccer, but that's how we met because you went to Catholic Central, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you are a year older than me, and Paul's about to spit some knowledge, guys. So listen up if you want to learn how to make some money. So
should be a good pod.
So just to the audience, a little background of what you do.
Yeah. So right now, I work in engineering. It's fun. It's great. But I think one of my real interests is trading. So. I think this podcast would give a good surface level introduction into kind of what I've been doing and just what's going on around the world, and have some jokes in there too.
Hell yeah, dude! I mean, that's what we're about. We're about humor on here on the J-Rock Pod. For those of you that listen, but we know also everyone wants to make money, and people talk about the stock market and they make it sound very complicated, which. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't complicated to an extent. But investing and trading are completely different things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say so.
And you're more of a trader.
I would say I like to be diversified. So I'm definitely going to have a large portion of my portfolio be passive income, more conservative, trading, investing techniques, dividends. And I'm going to have, 20, 25, 30% of my portfolio be more trading. So, yeah, I would say having a good blend of both. You never want to have all your eggs in one basket. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense for sure.
You never want to go full port into one trade, right?
Right. You were talking earlier about day trading, scalpers, and then like swing trading.
Yeah.
I've always thought of trading as just day trading. I didn't realize there were all these different kinds of trading. But is that like the name of them, or is that like the psychology name of those traders?
In terms of the verbiage and the exact lingo of everything, yeah, it can maybe get a bit confusing. I would say within day trading, there's scalpers, there's swing trading, and yeah, I would say maybe the term day trading would just be, for holding a trade for that trading day period. Scalpers, I would say, are focused on 15 to 30 minute trades. Swing traders would be a day to 2 weeks. They want to be in a trade. And day traders, I would say 1 day, trading period. So going into the psychology of what makes a good trader, I would say you got to figure out what suits you and what do you like to do and what hours do you want to trade. And, reflecting it back into kind of athletics and soccer and how I used to play, kind of what player are you? Like, what are your strengths and weaknesses? What will differentiate you from the rest of the crowd? Within that, it's just, and that might come with experience. That might come from education. It might come from, both. But you really have to identify and hone in and say to yourself, what type of trader are you? And from identifying what type of trader are you, you're going to build a good discipline and good habits. And that's, one of the most important things as well is, building good discipline.
And that's huge. Like they don't talk about that much. Like when you're in economics in like high school, for example, they don't talk about the discipline that you need.
Yeah.
Mental discipline to be able to get into the stock market and trade and do all that. Because, dude, I've lost so much money, not necessarily in the stock market, but I've lost a lot of money crypto trading.
Yep.
And I'm sure anyone out there that's watching right now, if you're trading crypto, there's a weird trend going on right now, and it's called meme coins. And there's these meme coin influencers, X, Twitter. you know it's a pump and dump. You know what I mean? Like, you know it's a pump and dump. They know it's a pump and dump. But it's like, if you like kind of get in with them and do what they say, like, it's like this weird little cult almost, you know?
Yeah.
Then you can make money with them.
Oh yeah.
But there is something, it just feels weird.
You know, it almost, you know, the way you described it to me almost feels like a penny stock, right?
Yes.
If you know what I'm talking about. It's like we're day trading and it's a penny stock and it's, you know,
Jordan Belfort.
It's a $1 to $10 stock. And you think, you know, for whatever reason, it's going to go to $25, $30 and it should go to $25, $30. For whatever reason, it just doesn't. And you're sitting there going, what's going on here? Is it manipulation?
Right.
Is it just, you know, more money taking the inverse trade of what I'm taking? That's just ultimately taking my money.
Okay.
And, you know, I think that comes also into effect of why do I like futures? Why do I like trading, you know, for instance, gold and oil on my riskier side of my portfolio is because it's coming from a centralized price that's pretty volatile.
Right.
It's not a bunch of different actors. It's not a bunch of different, you know, NFTs or meme coins where you don't actually know the volume, what's actually going on behind the scenes just because, you know, Snowflake, whatever meme coin is worth
Snowflake
$5 a coin. Like, why, like, what's backing that? Why is it worth that?
Right.
Like, is there a whale? Is there a big investor behind the scenes? Once that information becomes public and it's out there, it's already going to be too late. Whether you're in the trade or you're out of the trade. So
what's that famous quote from Wolf of Wall Street? Like, by the time you read it in the newspaper, like, it's already too late. Yeah, you really got to be up to date with that stuff. It's funny you said, like, the Snowflake thing about, like, that meme coin, because with NFTs, there was this one NFT. It was called Crypto DickButts. And, dude, I'm not kidding. And this NFT, like, went from, you know, a mint where it was minting for, like, 0.01 Ethereum, which was, like, maybe, I don't know, at the time, $200 or, like, something like that, to, like, 5 Ethereum. And then each Ethereum people was, like, $2,000. So that's, like, almost 10 grand.
yeah.
For a little picture of a crypto dick butt. Like, it was literally a dick that had a butt, and it would be like, it had like a baseball cap on. It was kind of cool. I'll put a picture. I bought it off like a fake one, but
yeah. No, some of them are cool, but I feel
but
like
why?
I feel like most of them, I just want to laugh at it and like not laugh with it, like laugh at it.
Yeah, you don't want
like
to
laughing like at the investors that like are putting real money to buy that.
Exactly, and the people that think that it's like legit. Like, because it's not legit. Like, someone made that with this intention of they're gonna get this because it goes back to the psychology.
You know what's the saying? I think the saying is like, what is it? Buy the hype, sell the news, and that's just how I constantly feel with NFTs. So I feel it's just like as soon as I know or hear about the NFT, it's already too late.
Right.
And if you're gonna probably get into it, you're probably gonna lose money.
And
that's just the reality.
That's true. Especially right now, there's no NFTs that are like up. Yeah. Like, there was a big collection called Alien Frens, and that I was part of. Shout out to the Blue Yeti gang. That was one of the traits. I got lucky and I minted like one of the rarest Alien Frens. Super lucky, and it's like this cute little blue Yeti. I'll put a picture up. And on Twitter, follow me at LumpyCatNFT, and you'll see it.
Bet.
And anyways, I had been like voicing my concerns about the leadership of this project, just because when you had a question about the way they were doing things, they would instantly like start like kind of trying to make you feel like bad.
Yeah.
Or you know, like it was toxic, the whole thing. And so I eventually was just like, all right, fuck it, I'm not joining these friends radios. And I started just kind of like being a voice against them just because I didn't like them. And then I made it so, and there's only 65, so in the collection there's 10,000 of these Alien Frens. And with the Yetis there's only 65 of them, so it's a very small portion.
Okay. And
since I minted this naked one, the only naked Yeti, I like somehow became the leader of this little trait, right? And I made this thing called the Blue Yeti Gang. And I made it so it's a very exclusive club, and none of them are listed. like, which is crazy because every other alien friend is listed. You can't get Blue Yeti though. And I made it that way because, like, my thought is this. I don't think that an NFT project is going to get more valuable based on the founders and their roadmap. I just don't. Like, it's all the same shit. But what you can gain from that, and what I learned from Alien Friends, is you can build these communities. And then you can help each other outside of just, like, the NFT space. You know what I mean? And that goes back to, like, the Blue Yetis is in partnership with the Roy's Investments. So, like, there's Yetis in there, you know, and it's really about, like, forming a good community on there so you can stay up to date because everyone's in their own different kind of, like, little industry, you know what I mean? And so you just kind of get updates on, like...
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's important to have a good community. I mean, even, you know, I would say going into futures trading and in that type of space, you know, having a strong community around you is very important. And, you know, whether it be people that are there just to get, you know, call outs on trades, or whether they're actually there to put in the work themselves and, you know, develop the skill, you know, surrounding yourself around a good community. And especially if you can get one, a good mentor will expedite your learning process tremendously. So
Dude, yes, that's huge. And you know what the funny thing is about these I made a tweet the other day. I said NFT founders are cap, and I put the little blue cap. And it's so funny how many people agreed with me. Like, because they are, like, they just make these projects and they let them, you know, they're like, you can have the IP, like the intellectual property to this thing.
yeah.
It's like, okay, cool.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, if you have an NFT, and you would be a better expert than me, to be honest, because I never really dived into that too much. You know, if you're an early developer and you build a larger community, wouldn't the idea just be to, I guess,
Make money from the
supply and
royalties?
demand, supply and demand, right? Like, if there's more people that want to get in and they want to get their hands on one, then, you know, you could sell it for more and you keep selling it for more. I mean, is that the idea with it as well? It kind of sounds like a crypto.
Dude, that is... So the only one of the biggest differences is with the NFTs. If you make an NFT collection, you can set your royalties. So what you're going to be paid for every single trade, for every time someone buys or sells an alien friend, whether it's, you know, just two random people or you to someone, like, you're getting some of that money. And so you want your collection to, like, be doing well so that people are like, oh, I'm going to buy one.
Yeah.
Because then you get a little percentage of that.
Sure.
And that's the thing about that collection, Alien Friends. They basically, the way I see it, is they set it up so that they emphasized IP. Okay. Build a strong community. Okay. And then from there, they're hoping that someone in this collection that bought an alien friend does something valuable with it and uses the alien friend as the brand. So then people see that and they see the value in it and they're like, oh, I'm going to go buy one of those.
Okay.
So then they keep getting paid.
Okay.
But they're not doing anything, you know? And that annoys me. And so that's why I wanted all the Blue Yetis delisted, because I don't want anyone trading them, because I don't want these founders to get any money from it. Like,
it sounds complicated, bro. It sounds like a lot of IP going around, a lot of, like...
And that's all, like, what are the legalities? Like, I don't know if...
It's like the Wild Wild West, it sounds like.
It is, dude.
You know what I mean?
It literally is. It's... And if, dude, you get too... So I lost my mind. I literally had a psychosis about a year and a half ago, maybe. And it was because I was just... In order to know what NFT is, like, gonna come next, like, and it's gonna be, you know, pumped and probably do well, you have to be really immersed within, like, the NFT space. And that is all on, like, X, on Twitter. And, dude, if you're... like, just scrolling through social media all day, you just eventually start to, like, think, like, I mean, at least for me, I also wasn't taking care of myself at the time. Sure. And so, like, I started to think, like, every tweet was about me. Like, if it was a negative tweet, I started thinking it was about me. I'm like, oh my gosh, man, I got all these haters, but they're not even talking about me.
No, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
that's definitely interesting. I mean, you know, that's a space where you know, I can't even attest to it, but you're having to track the IP, you're having to track who's behind the scenes, you're having to track what the development of the NFTs are. I mean, being a founder, right, being a creator, I would think, yeah, I'd want to build a good brand, but how am I going to get paid?
Right, right.
I don't know. That's, I want to make sure that if I'm starting that, how is that cycle going to look like between, what the product or the service that I'm giving and how I'm getting paid?
Right.
And you could take that from a small scale and you could take that from a big scale. So,
I mean, Alien Frens, they have a partnership with Liquid Death, with
okay.
the Nelk Boys.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and I don't think they understand this because they're older. And like, I've been in the crypto space or NFT space for a long time. And what I've realized is, dude, no one cares about like a famous person's like perspective or like like if they are holding an NFT, no one cares.
Yeah.
Because that person doesn't even probably care about any of it. They already got a bunch of money. So I think that's a mistake doing that. Like, really like trying to get these ambassadors. And obviously you want sponsorships, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, if you're attesting to how important the community is and you want to support the community, why are you going out and reaching out to the Nelk Boys, and trying to get them to be a part of it? None of them are.
Yeah.
We just have like a partnership with them.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's all this fucking, it's just like,
it sounds like a complicated business plan. Like
It
a
is.
complicated business model, bro. I see where you're trying to go with it.
yeah.
I would just say the first time I honestly heard it, it sounds like a complicated business model where it's it's hard to track how you're doing, right? Like, are you trying to get the money from advertisements and marketing, or are you trying to get the money from the NFT space?
Exactly.
Like,
bro.
I don't know.
Exactly. And then this is little cherry on top with the NFTs. Like, they give you the opportunity to invest into like a lot of it is like, who's the leader? Like, is it good leadership? Just like anything in life. Like, is this thing being run by someone that is competent, that someone is striving and being transparent about where the funds are going, And I was an early advocate when I first got the Yeti. I was an early advocate of saying we need to set up a decentralized autonomous organization, which is a DAO. And basically what that is just, it's a treasury. It's like a bank, right? And you can put money in. Anyone that's a part of the DAO that holds a governance token, so just one token, you can put money into this treasury, and then so you can make proposals. So you could make a proposal. I think the Nasdaq's going to go up. Let's put this amount of money into that, and then everyone votes, and then it's agreed upon, and then they put money into that. So like, if they were doing that with the NFT projects, I think that is the best and most trustful way that you could like get someone to, be like, all right, I trust the leader. I see things, I see what's going on, let's do it. But, when no one's responding and they're not telling you where the funds are going, and they're just kind of saying like you just gotta trust us, but then it's like, all right.
That's not, the words you want to hear, to be honest.
No, it's
what you just stated, you could track that. Like a company's, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but at the end of the year, that's public information. If it's a publicly traded company, they have to report, their profit margin, different, areas of basically what you're saying. How is the money flowing through the company? Do they owe money? What's their debt? What's their, profit? What, how much money did they make? How much money did they make last year as opposed to this year? How many employees they have? What you just stated is, factors, and, if I'm doing stocks and I want to pick a good stock and I think it's a bit undervalued, then I want to have that idea sentiment with obviously, the price that it's, and I want to look into the company, and I want to, who owns who's at the top of the company,
right?
What does their board of directors look like? You could sit in on some of those meetings quarterly and hear them talk. So I mean, that's also what I'm talking about, Johnny, is like in the NFT space, it's not really backed by any bank. So like,
right.
how do you know that they're just not manipulating the price?
They
Like, how
are.
do you like? Well, that's what I'm saying. So as an investor, why would I want to invest my money into that?
Dude, exactly.
You know, I'm just, you know, so it's tough, you know, and there's manipulation going on in everywhere right now. The stock market, you know, future, everywhere has got manipulation, but
Yeah.
at least like with
Professional
stocks, you
manipulation.
could kind of have a little bit more transparency,
Yes,
you know,
100%.
and that's public information. With the NFT space, like it's, you know, it's basically the wild, wild west. It's basically you're agreeing to play their game. And
Yes.
they get to just dictate the game, and you're agreeing to play their game.
And you know what? Well, and dude, this is the best part for them, for the founders. They can do this. They can just be like, all right, we're gonna, you know, if you don't hear from us for a little bit, it's because we're working on this. Meanwhile, their NFTs are getting traded, and they're just getting money from the royalties.
Of course.
So it's just like,
There's no transparency. You don't know what's going on.
exactly.
And when you don't, in how you said earlier before you kind of started talking about NFTs, is you need it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like options, kind of like futures. Like you need to know exactly when to get into that trade. And if all that information is information that you can't either see in a chart or you can't, you know, publicly look up, you know, as an investor, why would I want to take a risk?
Right, right. And then to make it even worse, you can make as many crypto wallets as you want. So they could, you know, they can make it seem like it could be them. It could be the founders just buying and selling the Alien Frens. And we wouldn't know it because we can't see who owns that wallet. You can track it and see like purchases, but you can just make a new one.
Yeah.
You know, so it is very sketchy.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you're like a hacker or something, maybe it's a good way to, you know,
It's full of
start making
hackers.
money. Just
Full
you know,
hackers, dude.
you just, you know, build a facade NFT, get people to give sensitive information away and build accounts and just,
That's
I don't
literally
know.
what happens. You just
could basically
that
just
happens
control
all the
it from there.
time, dude. That happens all the time. It's crazy, and but let's that's a conversation for another time. NFTs and crypto, because that is crypto bros out there dying, bro.
Yeah.
like you're having heart attacks.
yeah, my word of investment, I would not touch the NFT space. That's
Yeah.
just my word of investment.
Unless you want to get into the Blue Yeti gang, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
That's-
You want to get in the Blue Yeti gang, hit up my boy Johnny.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Otherwise, stay the fuck away.
Yeah, or you will lose money. But okay, so for the audience that doesn't like really understand or has never done trading, what would you recommend? Like,
How to get started?
yeah,
I would say identify yourself. Identify, you know, are you a patient person? What type of hours are you most active during the day? What type of hours are you working? Do you have a 9 to 5 job? These are all kind of factors you need to take into account because when you're trading, you want to be, you know, looking at the chart behind the trade. And most of the time you don't need to. It's just when you're refining the way you trade, you want to be present and you want to take notes and document every trade. So I would say the first things you want to ask yourself is identify what type of trader are you? Do you want to be in a trade for 15 to 20 minutes or less? Do you want to be in a trade for an hour to, 4 hours? Do you want to be in a trade for 2 days to a couple weeks? All of these different avenues you can make money from. The key to it is taking away all of your emotions and not letting this turn into, oh, I'm in a trade and it's down, so I'm going to, freak out or anything.
Right.
You always want to have a plan. You want to take your emotions out. At the end of the day, you're going to average how you did for that month or for that quarter. You're not going to just look at your day and doesn't define you as a trader. So,
right.
Calm down, take a look at things,
That's huge. Man.
identify what type of trader are you? When do you go to work? When will you be able to get home and be behind a computer for 3 hours? Identify what type of a 3-hour session you could sit down for a day and trade. And the beauty with futures market is it's only closed on Saturdays, so it's 24/7.
So we're talking futures trading.
Yeah, futures trading right now. Because, there's futures. I used to do options, and how I was talking about, the time element and the Greeks. Like, I think futures are way superior to options. And we can kind of dive into that a little bit later, why. But I used to do options, and kind of like how you explained with NFTs, I lost my ass with options.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more from I wasn't able to calculate my risk to reward properly. I wasn't able to set, my proper stop loss and take profits adequately with options because I didn't know how to really calculate the time decay and how that would affect the price as much as it would. So, I think options are more used as a leveraging device when you have certain stock positions. And when it gets around certain levels, then you have, you have levels to take options at. And I think that could be used to kind of hedge against your current positions if it's going against what you think it's going to.
You would have to have like a good amount of money though to do that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like hedge funds.
Yeah. So I don't think the idea is to make money necessarily just taking naked puts and naked calls. The idea with
what exactly is a put and what is it called?
So in options, if you think the stock's going to go up, that's a call.
Okay.
If you think it's going to go down, it's a put. And as soon as you take that strike, or as soon as you take that trade and you execute that trade, there's already going to be a time element, an expiration date that's going to be working against you.
Right.
And that's actually a pretty complicated formula. So,
I've tried it. It's complicated as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could even ask ChatGPT, how do you calculate risk with options and read what it tells you. So
that's pretty great. We got like AI now.
yeah, it's nice. I just did it right before the pod and I was reading it. And it's, once you get to a profitable trader, you want to get proficient with documenting every trade. As a business, every invoice you want to document in case you get audited. It's the same principle with trading. Every trade you take, you want to document it. Maybe just, in a simple Excel spreadsheet or something that you could just, look at and refer to, and maybe write down a couple notes on why you took the trade and what your take profit and stop loss is. But
even if you don't know how to use an Excel, like just write it down.
Yeah. You could just
document it.
Nowadays you could just write stuff down, take a picture of it, circle it, and it'll export it into a Excel sheet for you. You could just write
crazy.
it down. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We could
That's
do
sick.
that. At least I have a Google Pixel 6.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I have an Android, so you could just take a picture.
No need to flex, bro.
Yeah, sorry to flex, but it's nice. You could just like centralize all your documents that you just write down really quickly and just throw away or shred that piece of paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, you want to take the emotions out of trading.
Yeah.
You want to be, emotionless. You want to be out there like a professional. And I think as a true professional, as a human being, you're always going to have emotions, but as a true professional, I think you can learn how to take those human instincts kind of out of the equation,
Right.
and kind of just hone in on the execution of what you need to get done.
Right.
So, and that comes with, taking trades, documenting your trades, why did it go up? What time of day did you take the trade? Was there a news event during the day? Don't take trades during a news event at least 5 to 15 minutes before or after a news event. You can take a trade during a news event.
So like after Donald Trump got shot, what are your thoughts? Like right after that, trade wise?
I would have to look at the time of day he got shot.
It was night, I think.
Was it a Saturday?
I'm not. Izzy, do you know?
I don't.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly.
Well, let's pretend it was a day where you can trade.
Let's say he got shot and actually died or whatever the case may be. Let's just throw a case in the air.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea how the market would react. And that's one of the points that you also want to take into account is I'm not out here trying to decipher what the market's going to do today.
Okay.
I'm here to look at what the market does at certain levels in terms of price, and at those certain levels, who's winning the battle, buyers or sellers. Right. And at those certain levels, that's where the most amount of volume is being traded. So whoever's winning the battle there is, going to win, probably a decent sized trade in terms of going long or going short. So what I like to do is, I'm always going to come second to the market. I'm never going to come first. I want to have the market tell me what it wants to do, and I'm going to ride that wave to the next support or resistance level. Okay. And I'm out. And that's pretty much it.
And so for people that we'll put a link to that one website. You can do futures trading with the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
And what is it? You get to start with 50,000.
Yeah, well, there's prop firms, and that's a whole other segment we could dive into. There's prop firms, and there's like your own personal trading account. And what I always like to tell myself and my students is, let's use a prop firm if you're going to use a prop firm. Like if you don't want to use a prop firm, I don't blame you at all. I'm trying to get away from using a prop firm, but use your prop firm to fund your own personal trading account.
Right.
There are a lot of hidden rules, or not hidden rules, but there's a lot of rules within these different prop firms that, they want to make sure you're a consistent trader before they're going to let you, trade with like live funds that you could just withdraw after you make that trade. They want to protect themselves against basically, quote unquote gamblers that are going to, go full,
right.
Full port into a trade, right? They want to make sure you could be profitable over, let's say, a 30-day trading period where you're trading, quote unquote every day, even though you don't need to quote unquote trade every day. They want to just make sure you're profitable before they're going to start, basically paying you out. And it makes sense, as an owner
100%.
of, let's say, one of these prop firms. You don't want to just have, people coming in there and just, with a gambling mindset,
right.
extracting money. Even, they're going to pay you, and even though, you're entitled to that money, they just don't want to reward gamblers.
So let me ask you this, because I will do futures trading of the NASDAQ through a prop firm. And so the way it starts out is there's $50,000 like that it shows. Now is that and I know you have to make $3,000 profit to start making money. So I would have to make 53. So from that initial 50,000, I would then have to make the right trades to get up to 53,000. And then from there, everything is cut. Like any profits made is split between me and them, right?
Yeah, so I use mainly Top Step. I would only advise really 2 futures trading prop firms right now if you're going to get into the industry. And I would say it's either Top Step or Apex Trading.
Put the links in the description.
And we'll put the links in the description. And obviously, you want to have your TradingView account, and you probably want to have, a base, upgrade subscription so you could have 4 or 5 indicators running. And we'll drop the indicators that I use on my chart every day. We'll drop that in the description as well. So back to the question. What was your question? Sorry. I just had to kind of plug a couple things.
No.
Quick.
That was great. I actually was about to say, like with the indicators, if you send me a picture of those indicators, I can just insert that right here. Floating.
Yeah. So I'll be sure to kind of send you screenshots of my trading setup with my indicators that I use and the different levels that I use. There's free material out there. And one of the benefits with futures trading is every day there's YouTubers that will go live pretty much every day for like 6 hours straight. So like if you're at work, bro,
it's like Twitch.
If you're at work, bro, and like you want to have that environment where you could still do your work and you want to, soak in information, throw one of, these YouTubers that trade every day. Like let's say Lorenzo Corrado is one of my go-to guys. We'll plug him in the description.
Shout out Lorenzo.
Yeah, shout out Lorenzo. He's from Netherlands. He really demonstrates good trading psychology, and he's really kind of taken my trading to the next level where, it's not a hobby. It's something that we take seriously, and we want to build a strong community of warriors. And shout out LTA Concepts. Shout out Lorenzo. But there's other ones too. I mean, Don Vo, Wix9, he's a solid one. We'll drop them all in the description. But if you just, YouTube futures live trading, every day there's, probably 4 to 6 YouTubers that do it every day that are pretty good. Patrick Whelan's also a really good guy. He mainly does NASDAQ and ES. And
so when you're working, you're listening to them talking about their trades that they're actively doing.
Yeah, and what they're really doing is they're just sitting around looking for price to get to certain levels.
Gotcha.
And they're just basically seeing what price does or how price reacts at certain levels. And they're, also waiting for certain news events to come out through the week and see how that wants to affect price. If there's a day where there's a lot of news events going on, that might be a day where you only want to risk, 0.05% of your portfolio.
Right.
It might be a day where you don't want to trade because price might just be super volatile that day, and you want to wait for the next day just to have price and actually just have a straightforward trade. Maybe you double the risk to reward because it's a day where there's no news events and you know that it was super volatile the last couple of days. And, you know, that's kind of where the skill comes in. And also knowing yourself and how, you know, what type of trader you're doing. There's traders that they take a very, very low risk on each trade, meaning if it goes against what they're saying, that it just gets out of the trade for them, which means, you know, their success rate is very low. But when they are successful, you know, they're coming back with 6, you know, 8 times returns on their investment, and they're keeping their losses low. So, you know, you could choose to do that route, or you could choose to do, hey, I'm just going to do 1-to-1s, which means I'm risking, one times what I'm willing, I'm willing to lose 1 times what I'm willing to, win. I like to go for minimum 2-to-1s where I'm winning 2 times what I'm willing to lose. And I would say between 2 times to 4 times is what I'm looking for in terms of returns. But yeah, I would just say surround yourself around that community is going to help you get disciplined every day. And it's kind of like
Roy's Investments. Join the Roy's Investments Discord. We'll put a link.
True.
ROIS Investments. Paul's in there. He's working in Forex trading. What is it? Server or channel?
Yeah, it's a Discord server. We'll drop that. Within it, there's a futures 50K challenge account, I think it's what it's called. And between that and just the general chat, we're posting. So
News,
definitely get in there.
Crypto.
And there's an automated bot to help you with indicators and all that. So that's definitely going to help with different news events. And, like crypto news events can heavily affect, the price of gold or the price of oil or even, the NASDAQ or the EQ or ES, sorry, not EQ, ES. But, let's say Jerome Powell is talking. Do you want to be in the middle of a trade when Jerome Powell is talking? If you look at the price, like on the 1 minute candle, it's just like a wild roller coaster. And if you think of, I don't want to have my money on that roller coaster because I don't know where it's going. So
one guy,
it's wild, yeah. And what is he even saying? He's kind of just circle jerking a bunch of people in a room.
Those might be the companies you want to put some money into. The ones that he's circle jerking around.
I guess, man, like...
I mean, I don't know.
He'll come on
even
and
Elon Musk, kind of like that.
Yeah, are we going to cut interest rates? Or are we not going to cut interest rates? It's like kind of what we were talking about earlier. What's the state of the economy right now? I think companies are just waiting around just to see if Jerome Powell is going to cut interest rates or not. Like, what are they actually going to do? Because he's been talking a bunch of different scenarios, and he hasn't cut interest rates in, like, over a year. And, that's really affecting the cash flow of a lot of different things.
He's waiting for this election?
I don't think he has a lot of options. I don't think he has a lot of choices. I think he's trying to be hopeful. I don't think he can cut interest rates right now with the amount of money that they've injected into the economy during COVID. Mm-hmm. That's a separate discussion.
Yeah.
I think he has to keep interest rates where they are, to be honest, to combat inflation, because inflation is it's been pretty bad. Yeah.
So we're about to wrap up here, but I want to ask you now, in terms of trading, what do you think, or in terms of the economy, just like what do you think Donnie T or Kamala Harris, like who do you feel would, make the market kind of start to boom more?
Sure.
And why?
That's a very intertwined question with a lot of different perspectives going on, right? Mm-hmm. And I work in an industry where I could see different parties and different interests and how, different, people lie. I'll just say this: companies like to operate from a perspective of less interest rates and less, fiscal, corporate policies and taxes. And, I think a Donald Trump presidency will help the stock market, but I think that it's also going to expose, and it also might crash the housing market and the auto market. And I think, honestly, that might be what's needed to combat inflation, to kind of have a restart. I think that all this money that's been interjected into the economy since, let's say, COVID or around that time, it has definitely helped a lot of people. It's just when you inject that much money into the economy, that's that's kind of what inflation inflation has come from, all of that money being interjected into the economy.
It's money we don't have.
It's not necessarily money we don't have because guess what? We're not on the gold standard. Right. So, if I'm, I could hit a button. I'm Jerome Powell. I could hit a button. I could just make $5 billion.
Dude, this guy's got so much power, bro.
And then,
Jerome
as a
Powell.
politician, I can go around giving incentives for new highways, new railroad systems, new infrastructure.
Right.
Which, that's great for everybody. But at the end of the day, we're just creating money.
Right.
If you kind of see where I'm going with this.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And there needs to be a happy medium of, yes, we're creating jobs. Yes, there's a cash flow. Yes, we're maintaining our infrastructure. Yes, we're, maintaining, international domestic tranquility, as it says in the preamble. Mm-hmm. But, you got to realize that we're not at any type of standard. So,
yeah, we're not on any type of standard.
If we're just pushing buttons and just printing money and just interjecting into the economy, and all of a sudden we have money now, who's the party that's keeping the U.S. in check?
Exactly.
Right? And that might be why you're seeing some of these conflicts going around in the world.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, people are switching to the yen, right? Yeah, correct.
Well, it's called BRICS, right?
Or the
Brazil, Russia, India, China.
It's called BRICS.
And South Africa. Well, it's not a new currency, but it's a new. You know how there's NATO.
Like
you know how there's NATO.
Yeah.
It's like their kind of version of NATO.
Oh, damn.
But it's not necessarily a military alliance.
Okay.
It's more of an economic alliance.
I feel like that's smarter.
Well, they're trying to basically do their business without using the US dollar.
Exactly.
They're trying to ditch the US dollar. And if the US dollar isn't backed by anything,
we're fucked.
I mean, here's the deal, like the US still has an abundance of resources, still has, the I would say still the number one Air Force, at least.
Oh, yeah.
And Navy out of any country, but we're getting to a point where, I think we might have rivals starting to challenge us, and, with weak leadership, especially, if you're other countries and you see weak leadership.
Full circle. We were talking about leadership a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah.
That's what we do here on Geopolitics.
I don't encourage violence, right? I don't encourage taking people's stuff or whatever, but if you see weak leadership and you know that they're not going to do anything, and you know how certain policies flow, and you kind of know what people are going to do, don't be surprised when, other countries start, acting maybe nefarious or start trying to act behind your back.
Right.
If you're not being transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're kind of in a interesting, dynamism, interesting stage of geopolitics where, there's not real leadership anywhere.
Yeah.
And, some of the stronger leaders at this point, based on perspective, you might either love them or hate them. So I'm not saying, Putin's a great guy or not, but, he definitely invaded Ukraine. So it's on him. But at the end of the day,
didn't NATO kind of like push, like there was agreed upon thing where we weren't
2005, Putin was asking to be part of NATO.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you know this or not.
I didn't know that.
And I think it was Clinton, not 2005, maybe a little bit earlier, but I think it was Clinton that told Putin. He originally told Putin, yeah, like, we'd love to have you in NATO.
Yeah.
And then he came back the next day and told Putin or something like that, hey, sorry, like, we can't have you in NATO.
Damn.
And that was around like the mid 2000s. Right. And I think since the mid 2000s, boiling, let's say, to 2014, I think Ukraine's been a melting pot for this exact conflict to occur. And let's just say, a lot of people are making a lot of money and a lot of power is changing hands.
Yeah.
And I think it's been planned for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. I don't think certain parties necessarily wanted it to happen, but war brings about great economic prosperity.
That's true. It definitely does.
Maybe not for the long term, but the short term, you're going to turn your factories and make, instead of making cars or whatever, they're going to just be 24/7 making artillery shells.
We might see
And that's
Detroit have a nice little resurgence.
Yeah, and there you go. Like, that's what might be needed to change the tide of the war. But that's the thing. Like, I don't think that there's ever really been a strong push to actually get Ukraine to win the war.
Right.
And what I say about that is, like, now they have talks with these F-14s and, giving them to Ukraine. Like, here's the situation. Like, why didn't you give all of these, hundreds of F-14s that you had with a bunch of parts, for operation and maintenance to Ukraine from day one?
Right.
I'm like watching these videos where
Escalating.
I'm watching these videos where Ukrainians are in a building getting dropped, getting thermobaric bombs dropped on their head because they don't have air superiority.
We'll put a clip. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, we can if we want. It's sad because
we would get booted off.
As a Ukrainian, you want to defend your homeland, and I totally get that as an American. It's just, if you're not going to supply and if you're not going to dominate air superiority, what are you doing? Because that's, the name of the game. I mean, yeah, I understand kamikaze drones are, both sides have a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But it's like the Ukrainians don't have an air force.
Right.
Like, or not. Or,
well, America does.
Yeah.
We're giving them our shit.
I'm on here watching Ukrainians just get blasted. So it's, it's almost seems like a slaughtering.
It does not seem good.
No.
I mean, yeah, just end the war. But it's not that simple. Isn't that weird?
I think with the Donald Trump presidency, you're going to see a war end a lot sooner than with the Kamala presidency. I'll say that.
100%. 100%. I agree with that. And that's a good thing to end on right there.
Yeah. And with peace. We want peace.
Yes. Yes. We want peace. Gerard Pod, Paul, we're calling for peace. Izzy's calling for peace over there. But this has been a great educational, informative episode.
Absolutely. We try to keep it more surface level, try to kind of identify what you guys are going to use or what you guys are going to need to know to start, identifying
trading.
what type of trader you are and to start trading. And,
Making
whether
money.
it be stocks, futures, options, or NFTs, you can make money in all different aspects. So definitely do your research and don't listen to fools like before making any trades.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Because remember,
Because we don't know.
This is a comedy podcast.
We don't know anything. We don't know anything.
Right. Yeah. And that's how I think you should approach most things in life.
Yeah.
Always feel like nothing, and then you're always willing to learn.
That's wisdom.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. This has been Gerard Pod.
Peace.
Peace. All right.